Jimmy was a really good kid. Never had problems with him. When he first came home and told me that he was taking a test and joining, I cried. I didn't want him to go because I knew where he'd be going, that he'd have to go to Iraq, and that just really scared me because he was my only son, and I was just afraid that he wouldn't come back.
I first met my husband, Jim. I was actually pen pals with him while he was in Iraq. And we'd write letters back and forth, and he'd call if he needed someone to talk to. We ended up getting married. We were only together 6 months.
I love my country, I really do. I just love the fact that it's a free nation, and that's what I wanted to defend. Just see the world, see different things. In the area that I was in, we had one of Saddam's weapon facilities. It was bombed out. There was still a little bit of weapons in there, and we had to keep going in there to get whatever was left and destroy it or give it to the Iraqi army. It was a black area, which meant you shoot to kill. So we would always be on constant guard when we go there, because you always had at least 15, 20 people in these warehouses, in just abandoned shops, and get into gunfights. There was an incident where we got trapped inside one of them. Lo and behold, they decided to give up because we weren't backing down. We've gotten into gunfights where we were in villages, and there's innocent civilians, and you get contact from one of the buildings, but we have to return fire because we know that it's the terrorists. And next thing you know, you're going to do a CAS report, and you're seeing these little kids dead, these women dead, all these men dead. Those are the hardest things that any soldier deals with, other than the loss of a comrade. It's just something that messes with you. You just don't know how to deal with it, how to process it while you're over there. And especially when you come back, because that mentally breaks you down. It's hard to talk about. Once I got back from my first tour, I wasn't as outgoing as I was. I just feel angry about everything and just feel like nothing else mattered. I was basically staying to myself, and I was trying to drink my sorrows away from everything I experienced.
One night, I was getting up to go to the bathroom. He pinned me to the bed and told me it's not safe. You know, he's home and he's safe, and he still doesn't feel safe. He thinks he's still in Iraq when he's sleeping. Nights I would wake up and see him get out of bed, and I would follow him. He'd never make it back to the bedroom. One night, I turned around the corner and surprised him, and ended up with me up against the wall, and he had his fist up as he was gonna hit me, but he hit the wall next to my head. I was scared, I was pregnant, and all I thought about was my unborn child. But I also didn't want to leave him at the same time.
We had no idea what was going on. My son was never like that. And he came home a totally different person. And it's sad. Well, because they need the help and they can't get it.
PTSD is a very devastating condition and illness for someone to have to live with. Veterans that have PTSD believe that there's up to a 90% chance when they get up every morning that they are going to be hurt in some way. You can easily understand, I think, some of the secondary symptoms or problems that veterans with PTSD develop. You know, marital problems, divorce, separation, substance abuse, using or abusing drugs and alcohol. Female service members report that they have experienced assaults as well as other forms of harassment. It's been very traumatic for them. Suicide is just running rampant. I'm sorry to say the latest statistics show that one veteran almost every hour of the day kills him or herself. Many veterans, for a variety of reasons, and I don't think it has to do with the quality of the care in the VA system itself, they would prefer to get help in their own communities from other types of providers. And just as their whole experience made a significant difference in their lives, it made a significant difference in the lives of their families as well. So just as the veterans need assistance and help, so do the families.
In my case, I'm not diagnosed with PTSD, but because of the emotional trauma still involved with what I experienced, counseling is very important. When I got deployed, I had an 8-year-old and a 6-month-old. My 8-year-old was sent to stay with his father. At the end of my deployment, his father petitioned the court to retain custody, so I never got my son back. My youngest child, who was 6 months old when I left, was now 2 years old, and I didn't know him at all. To go to counseling and to cope with those things and to vent those things and to try to deal with those things, to reconnect with your family is so important.
Veterans are everywhere. Even here at St. Francis Hospital, there are many veterans.
I served in the U.S. Air Force for 20 years. I retired as a lieutenant colonel in 2000. Operationally, I flew the U-2, which was a high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft. I think community support for veterans that come back with PTSD is incredibly important because it demonstrates that the community cares about these veterans that have sacrificed so much and are returning. The Veterans Administration and the services they provide, they're overwhelmed. I mean, we read about it every day. There's not enough providers. So having places like the Military Wellness Center here in Poughkeepsie, where we plan to have computer stations where they can look for work, as well as receive counseling, as well as meet with other veterans, I think is going to be a phenomenal service.
I'm fortunate not to have experienced flashbacks. And one of the reasons was I wrote a book on Vietnam. That was my debriefing. That was my recovery time. The mental scars, they don't go away. It's difficult living on. Many from Vietnam have, and many from Iraq and Afghanistan are learning how to. If we can get these people back, they can pursue higher education and better jobs. And that, one by one, will strengthen those families and our communities.
Mike and I are really excited that St. Francis Hospital has decided to dedicate the funds raised by the Taste of the Hudson Valley to the Military Wellness Center. I'm very excited to be part of this event. Pam Landolt and I have a son in the United States Air Force. He's about to be deployed. We are very proud of his service, and we hope that this event continues to raise awareness of the desperate needs in our community for services to these men and women.
What treatment's meant to my family is a better life. It's made me a better person. St. Francis, I love the fact that you're trying to help the vets, trying to get this behavioral health clinic put in from one soldier to many other soldiers. We would love it.
It's crucial because you come back home and you're lost. You don't know where to go, who to talk to, and we need those places.
I think what St. Francis is doing is amazing. The families and the soldiers will benefit from what they're trying to accomplish.
It's a long road. I'm slowly getting my son back. The vets need so much help. They fought for us, and we can fight for them.
It's clear that we need community-based, outpatient, mental health and chemical dependency services for our veterans. I think St. Francis Hospital is uniquely positioned. Our behavioral health program goes back more than 50 years.
I don't think many people know that St. Francis was a soldier before he was a saint. Who could understand and appreciate better veterans' needs to further accentuate the mission of the Sisters of St. Francis and St. Francis Hospital? It just doesn't get any better.
For 100 years, St. Francis Hospital's mission has been to lead the way when the community calls for us. Vets are a big part of our community, and we need to welcome them back. Therefore, this program is part of what we've been doing for the last 100 years, making people well again.